32 now, and I'm a mom, and I'm struggling with being a parent because my parents struggle with parenting me. And I don't know how to handle that. Family, I am struggling tonight. I'm just getting back in from a baseball game, and I had me a glass of wine. And usually when I drink, I become emotional or I start to realize certain things. And I'm trying to think what occurred that made me get in this vulnerable space. On the ride back home, we was just recounting the events that occurred tonight with our friends at the game and everything. And then somehow or another, it got to the point we start talking about the kids and our family dynamics and how we feel unloved, if you will, by our closest family members. Growing up, I was really close to my mom. Like, we were best friends, and we would go shopping together, all the things. Me, my sister, my mom, we would go shopping on the weekends, have a great time. But things changed when I came out to my mom in the 9th grade, and then I told her that I was interested. At the time, I told her I was in love with this girl. And mind you, I have always known since I was in elementary that I was attracted to girls, but I just suppressed that because, you can't be gay. You cannot like the same sex growing up in a Black Christian home. But I always felt these emotions and these feelings about women, but I never truly acted on them. But in 9th grade, I became one with self. And anyways, I came out to my mom, and from that point on, she started treating me differently. And she put me in counseling with the pastor at the time, who wasn't living the way he should have either. And we all knew this. He was attracted to 2 of my cousins and tried to talk to them both. And he was the pastor of the church. But anyway, so she tried to get the gay prayed out of me, and was telling me that this was just a phase, and God doesn't like this, and I will go to hell and things like that. I ran away from home, and I was isolated and excommunicated, it felt, from the family, and it was just a trying time. But we're here now, right? We're here now, and it seems like she has become more accepting of me in a way. But what triggered all these emotions tonight was that my 11-year-old just turned 11 August the 20th, and I shouldn't have to call you and remind you that it's her birthday. Here we are, August the 27th, and she still hasn't called. And if you're hearing this, you might be like, well, people forget, but this is every year. This is every year, every birthday for each child. My mom doesn't call unless she wants something. She doesn't call to check in. And I'm not even just referring to birthdays. I'm talking about anytime. She only calls when she wants something. Or if there's an event coming up, she is asking, like a family reunion. She calls to say, are you coming down for the family reunion? But it's not just calling to check in on me or to talk to the grandkids or ask them to come down and visit. None of that. And as I mentioned earlier, I have an older sister. She's 5 years older than me. She doesn't have any children. But even with that situation, she doesn't call. She doesn't check in. We don't have a sister relationship. We don't hang out. Truly, the only time I hear from her is when she needs money. And I'm the one with 3 kids. It frustrates me that it seems like there's a lack of consideration and care for me and for my children. If I can be frank, it feels like rejection. It feels like I am unloved. It feels like my children they already don't have my father's side of things. My father is in prison. I don't have a relationship with my father's side. And then you have my mother and my sister who don't call them. They don't check in. My sister doesn't ask me if I need anything, if they need anything, if they need anything for back to school. Nobody calls. I always have to call my mom. Always. And sometimes I want to be called. I want to be checked in on. And I shouldn't have to call you to remind you that we exist, if you will. I was sitting here and I don't know, I just put it in Chat GPT and I was saying, I asked Chat GPT, why doesn't my mom love me? And because this is my form of therapy at this point, AI, okay? And ChatGPT was saying that there can be a lot of reasons why a parent doesn't express love in the way we hope for. Sometimes it isn't that they don't love us, but that they struggle to show it because of their own upbringing, stress, mental health, or the way they learn to give or withhold affection. Other times it can feel like they set impossible standards or don't see us fully for who we are. None of those things mean you're unworthy of love. Your worth isn't defined by how your mom treats you. You are lovable and deserving of love exactly as you are. And it was saying that we can talk through healthier ways to cope with the emptiness, ways to build love and connection outside of my mom and my sister in this case. And then it asked me to tell it a little bit of what's going on. And my mom, I told Chat GPT that I feel like my mom is ashamed of me. I feel like she struggles with the fact that I am who I am, regardless of who's around, and how it makes other people feel. I am unapologetically me, y'all. Like, all the time. I'm unhinged. I'm free spirited. I'm loud. I'm outgoing. I'm boisterous. I'm brave. Um, I'm a go getter. I'm a fighter. I persevere. Very strong. But I'm also very caring, very loving, and a fixer. But GPT was saying that it can understand how I feel unloved. When a parent doesn't call or check in, not even on their grandchildren, it feels like rejection, especially when you're craving connection. It says, it sounds like you suspect her silence is tied to her own shame around your sexuality. If that's true, it says far more about her unresolved struggles than it does about you. Sometimes parents project their own fears, guilt, or shame instead of facing them, and unfortunately, their children end up carrying the weight. Here are a few things to keep in mind. Her silence isn't proof you're unworthy. It's likely tied to her own limitations and pain. You can't heal what she won't face. You've done nothing wrong by being yourself. Her discomfort doesn't erase the fact that you're living authentically and raising a family with love. Love can be found elsewhere. Sometimes the family we create with partners, friends, and chosen community gives us the love and support our birth family can't or won't provide. You're not wrong for wanting her to call, to show up, to be proud. It's a very human desire. But even if she never changes, it doesn't mean you're unloved. You're just not receiving it from the place you wish you could. You know, I've always said that maybe if I had a brother, I would have that best friend brother sister relationship that I would hope for. Like, y'all, I wish me and my sister were able to, like, call each other, hang out, spend a night at each other's house. Like, that be like my ace boon coon, my road dog. But that's just not the case. We are so polar opposites, which is not a bad thing. I just feel like there's not a lot of things there are not a lot of things that we can relate on because we're so opposite. And it saddens me that it feels like if we were not blood, we would not communicate, see each other, because quite frankly, we don't communicate or see each other now. It's rare that I see my sister and we live 25 minutes apart. She's literally right down the road, and I probably see her once a year. I've seen her once this year. And I don't really suspect I will see her again unless I go home for the holidays. I'm not a holiday girl. Very Afro traditional, if you will. I'm not a holiday girl, but I go home to satisfy my mom. I do a lot of things to satisfy my mom. Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of that stuff. I go down to see her. For one, you don't know when in your last days are, but I know it makes her happy, seemingly or supposedly, for me to come down with the girls. But even when I'm there, there's nothing to talk about. We talk about everybody else and everything that's been happening in the town, but we don't talk about us. We don't talk about the elephant in the room. We don't talk about the hard things. We don't talk about what happened with our relationship. We don't talk about anything below the surface. And that hurts. That hurts. I'm not the most emotional person, family. But the one time I tried to have a conversation with my mom about our relationship, and this was after we had gone a year without communicating with each other. One of my aunts had to call me and say, "Hey, I talked to your mom. Y'all need to call. Y'all need to get this resolved. Life is too short. She loves you, and I know you love her. Y'all need to have a conversation. She could call your mama. Call your mama." I called her. This was some years ago. I called her. She wasn't answering the phone. I kept calling. But to know me is to know I ain't gonna beg and plead. I just don't have it in me to beg and plead for connection. She finally answered the phone, and there was no accountability on her part. It was basically all of my fault. And I can't get with that family. I will take accountability all day long for my part, but I also know that I'm not the full problem. And I expect other people to be able to have a mature conversation and to accept their parts in the demise of the relationship, whatever the relationship is. I don't know, family. Tonight it just really hit me, and I get like this sometimes, where the things that I try to suppress come to a head, and they come to the forefront, and I have to face it, and I have to feel the emotions. And I'm feeling it tonight, family. And I don't know, blame it on the alcohol, but it was time, because these feelings and these thoughts are deep in me, and I try to suppress them and, sweep everything underneath the rug, but I don't have family support, and that bothers me. It almost, I'm almost at the point, well, I ask myself, do my mom and my sister, do y'all think of me? Do y'all think of me? Do y'all think of the children? And and you might ask, well, do you reach out to them? Do you call them? Yes, every time, excuse me. Yes, every time I speak to my mom, it's because I call her. Unless she's calling me because she needs something or wants something, and not needing something or wanting something like money, but it's like, hey, I'm calling you because somebody died, or hey, I'm calling you because if it's tax time, it's like, well, did you, hey, did you get your tax money? Or, hey, I'm calling you because that's really it. That's those things are it. Whether it be about somebody's health declining or somebody done died. But other than that, she doesn't call me to check in on me. She doesn't call me to check in on the kids. If she doesn't call them for their birthdays, unless I call her first to like, hey, it's such and such birthday, then she'll talk to them for about 5 minutes and she'll send money. But money is not what's needed. Time and genuine connection is needed. Do I call my sister? I don't call my sister. I have sparingly checked in on her, and that's rare. And I can do better with that, right? I can do better with reaching out to my sister to try to form some type of connection. In saying that, I also feel like that ship has sailed because I'm 32 and she's 37. So I'm not saying it's impossible to create a strong bond at this point in our lives. I am saying that it could be hard because I'm set in how I am and she's kind of set and she's set in how she is. But it's not even really about me per se. It hurts me the most for my children because I feel like they have so much community on their dad's side. They see their grandparents every single day. They see his parents every single day. His sister watches them. His sister does their hair. They go down to see her very often. They see their uncle often, his brother. They see him often. They have a village of, mothers and aunties of the community. There's no lack of support and community on his side, but they barely know my side. And that hurts, family. That hurts. Okay. It's like, even before my dad went to prison in 2015, I already felt our relationship to be strained because it always gave friendship vibes and not father-daughter vibes, He was the fun parent, but he didn't take care of me parent. You know what I'm saying? Like I could do what I want to in his presence, drink, smoke, fuck, whatever, and we could chop it up like the homies. But he was never a parent. He wasn't a provider. So when I lost him to the system in 2015, when he went to prison for a heinous crime, I'm struggling with him too. Sometimes I go see him in prison, but I'm still struggling with what got you in prison. then it's like my mom is out and about in the free world, but it's like there's a blockage there and there's no connection. And I'm 32 now and I'm a mom and I'm struggling with being a parent because my parents struggle with parenting me. And I don't know how to handle that.